What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Tomorrow at the, I believe it's the Powdersville Ingalls, 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont, South Carolina is the address. We look forward to seeing you guys out there, and it's awesome to have you with us rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Here's how you can take part in the show. You can hit us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone, 844-326-3663, and the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Coming up next on the show today, we are going to look at some payrolls in Major League Baseball and what the picture it paints in terms of who could actually win the darn thing. The average Super Bowl ticket price is $6,800. You can take that and go to the Super Bowl or spend it on anything else you want in sports. Where are you dropping your coin? Kurt Warner highlights just the absolute massive difficulty that it is to draft a quarterback in the NFL draft today. So what is the one foolproof method of figuring it out? The number of teams for South Carolina, the state of South Carolina, to get 3 teams into March Madness. Okay? 3 teams into March Madness. What are the odds that that happens? We will tell you that coming up at 4:40 today. Spoke to my guy, Kelly Ford, today on that. Plus, my friends, we have got the top 5 at 5. We've got Mark and Diesel's top 5. And we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere is where you can get to us. Guys, I saw this today, and I swear to you, I thought it was an article on The Onion, or like I swear to you, I thought it was like a fark.com headline, and no, this is actually legitimate. And you got to be careful, with how you do this. We are Odyssey Greenville carries Carolina Panthers games. Now, our management tells us, okay, like I say often, what can we say about the Carolina Panthers? What can we not say about the Carolina Panthers? And management has largely told us, you can let them have it, okay? Like you can really, try not to make things personal, but you can essentially let them have it.
Oops. I made it personal about Dave Tepper a lot on the pregame show.
Did you?
A lot.
Yeah. So essentially, Diesel, what is coming out on the Carolina Panthers today is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard of in my life of a sports team doing. And guys, we've had Dave Canales on the show. We had Dave Canales on the show a few weeks ago, and it was great to have him on, and he's got a ton of energy. And I worry that he can't do it all himself. If for him, becoming head coach of the Panthers was an opportunity to become an NFL head coach, you got the sense he was going to take that opportunity no matter where it came open. And it came open in a great place to live, right? The Carolinas, beautiful, a fan base hungry for a winner. I'm not sure he can overcome this. I'm not sure Bill Belichick can overcome this. I'm not sure John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh Sr., I don't know if any of those guys can overcome what's going on with Carolina. And you guys have let us know on this show, you guys have let us know that you are divorcing the Carolina Panthers. You've let us know that. You can travel around in this area in the upstate. I went to the department store that has a bullseye as its logo, and I walked through the entire store, and I could not find a single item of Carolina Panthers memorabilia anywhere in the store. Not memorabilia, paraphernalia, shirts, hats, flags, etc. I said, hey, can you take me to where the Panthers section is? I think the lady said to me, what Panthers? What do you mean? What Panthers? She goes, we don't have any Panther stuff here. I'm like, but the Carolina Panthers are the NFL team here. The logo of the Panthers is North and South Carolina put together, okay? As Matt Rule said a couple of years ago, it's not the North Carolina Panthers, it's the North and South Carolina Panthers. That's why we're called the Carolina Panthers. So in a market that is very, very close to the border of North Carolina, and in a station group that carries the Carolina Panthers, how on earth, my friends, do you explain this? The NFL worst Panthers, this is the headline, increase overall ticket prices by more than 4% last season. Diesel, 4% of zero is still zero, right? I mean, they had tickets that were going for 45 cents.
Hey, you got to make up for all those empty seats somehow.
Tickets going for 45 cents on the secondary market, and yet the Carolina Panthers are increasing ticket prices. And you know what I tried to do today, ladies and gentlemen? I tried to look up the rate that every other team in the NFL is increasing their ticket prices, or who's raising their prices, who's lowering their prices. But whenever you do a search for NFL tickets, the only story that comes up is this story today on the Carolina Panthers. A couple of hours ago, I had it on the rundown as the lead. Then I looked at Facebook Messenger, and Diesel had sent it to me as a screenshot. He's like, Mark, and I'm like, Diesel, great minds. This is insane to me. Insane. I do want to ask you guys this question, okay, because this is just another nail in the coffin for the Carolina Panthers in the state of South Carolina. It is, okay? I do want to ask you guys this question. What would it take to get you back? You know, if you were once a Carolina Panthers fan who has lost interest, you guys here in the upstate of South Carolina have never really been interested in the Charlotte Hornets, okay? You've never really, since I've been here, have shown a great interest in the NBA. That's not to say that you individually don't like the NBA, but collectively, the upstate doesn't really show an interest in the NBA. But when I got here, the interest in the Carolina Panthers was far greater than the interest in the Carolina Panthers is right now. Is there anything that would get you back? It can be something as simple as winning. It can be something as simple as community outreach. Because I'll tell you what, Diesel, this is about as tone deaf as you could possibly be. You know, I'm going to show you this, Diesel. Like in this, in this article, and never mind because my computer has just frozen. In this article, they've got, pictures. They got a single picture of a guy being alone at a Carolina Panthers game. And
you're going to charge that guy 4% more, and that's going to make up for all your losses.
They've got this picture of this dude at a Panthers game, and he's the only one visible in any seating section. He's literally the only one there. And how do you rationalize increasing prices for this? You know what I do? Guys, I'm lowering prices, not raising prices. And I'm going berserk with community outreach. I'm having events everywhere. Diesel, Dave Canales will be signing autographs for free in downtown Greenville. Well, Mark, no one will show up. So what? He'll still be there. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan, shake hands with the new head coach. He'll be at Falls Park for these 2 hours for free. Okay? I would have the Carolina Panthers. Dave Tepper has made a donation to bring Furman baseball back. Do you not realize that you need goodwill in the area? Do you not realize what you need?
He could fully fund Furman baseball for a decade, and not even miss the money.
Right. You want more Carolina Panthers fans, then show these people you care. The saying is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the only thing Dave Tepper has done is continue to show people how he doesn't care, how he's tone deaf, how, look, I got to make more money in this business. So how do I do that? I'm going to raise prices.
Madcraft brought it up about the Falcons cutting their concession prices. Arthur Blank was a genius when he came up with this. I mean, people don't like feeling ripped off. And if I'm going to the concession stand and I want to buy a beer and it's $12, $13, $14 for a beer, there's a good chance I'm only going to buy one, because screw you. I'm not buying a second $14 beer. I really want a beer, but I'm not going to buy a second $14 beer. So what did he do? He cut his prices in half. That $14 beer is now $7. Guess what? I'm going to buy 3 of those. I might buy 4 of those. So now you've doubled the amount of money that you're making off this guy, and you've made him happy because he's not feeling like he's getting screwed anymore. But that's what David Tepper is doing. He is making it a point to say screw you to the fans.
Wow, guys. Wow. This is just absolute craziness. Absolute craziness. And it is mind-boggling to me that Carolina is doing this, that the Carolina Panthers are doing this. It is baffling to me that this has happened, that this is what's taking place. Diesel, the saying in Forrest Gump is stupid is as stupid does. You're not dumb unless you do dumb things.
Yeah.
And Dave Tepper has forgotten more about business or life than I'll ever know. He's not a dumb guy. But darn it, Diesel, he is doing some really tone-deaf, really dumb things. Texter says Tepper must really hate the South. Must really hate the South.
Dave Tepper is the lady who owned the Cleveland Indians in the movie Major League, doing whatever he can to run the team down, doing whatever he can to erode confidence in the players. And I've seen more than one prediction on social media today suggesting that this is all part of some ploy to drive the viewership and drive the attendance down, to then try to force the city of Charlotte to come back with money to build him a new stadium and or move the team out of Charlotte entirely.
What would it take, guys, to get you back? If you were a Carolina Panthers fan who has lost interest, what would it take to get you back? What would it take to get you guys to buy in to what they're doing over there? Okay, like it's just, I would stop at nothing to do community outreach right now. I'd fund Furman baseball. Hey, what's it going to take to get Furman baseball going again? I'm Dave Tepper. I'll fund it. Dave Canales is going to be in downtown Greenville. We're going to have our best players here to meet and greet with you guys. Okay? Like, we are going to show you that you are part of us. It's not just going to be a name thing where, like, you hit it and quit it and you never hear from anybody again. Like, it's just raising ticket prices. If I'm Dave Tepper, is literally the very last thing I would do right now. You know, the very last thing I would do. Charlotte hates him. South Carolina hates him. Okay, Rock Hill hates him. Wherever Rock Hill is, some is in North Carolina, some is in South Carolina. Wherever that is, they hate him. And what do? You give people the punchline headline that you are going to increase prices this year by more than 4%. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty a little bit here. The lower level seating at Bank of America Stadium will see the most significant impact. Season ticket prices increasing by an average of 7% from last year. Can you imagine being stuck to going every game? You know, like, hey, how did you feel about your season ticket investment last year? How would you feel if I told you those prices are going up?
I'm surprised he's not going to start implementing attendance requirements. You buy the PSL. Now, if you don't use the ticket, if you don't use the PSL, you could lose it.
Look, what does anybody care? The upper level seating will be increased by 1%. With 90% of the upper bowl seats will remain flat. Premium tickets, club seats, and suites will increase based on the terms of the contract. The team did not release a new actual cost of season tickets by section, except to say that the least expensive season ticket package, Diesel, which is $510, will remain the same as last season. Oh, joy. Oh, joy. $510. To see what? Exactly. To see what? Boy, the Panthers faced half-empty stadiums near the end of their season. They had ticket prices for as low as 45 cents. The team says season ticket owners have until May 1st to renew their season tickets. Those who sign up for a payment plan in full before April 1st will be eligible to win an all-inclusive trip to the 2024 NFL Draft, where folks can assume that their team is going to crap the bed yet again. How can we screw up this second-round pick?
Here's
again?
what we're going to do. We're going to give you VIP tickets to the first round this year. Oh, wait, our team doesn't have a draft pick in the first. Oh.
Oops. No bueno. No good. What do we do about it? Oh, my gosh. Texter says, Mark, just start covering the Falcons as the local team. The hell with the Carolina Panthers. Texter says, what's next for Tepper? Try and force the city to fund 100% of a brand new stadium for the Panthers while also raising ticket prices. Texter says $14 a beer. Dead Sexy would have to mortgage his house. Texter says Mark Furman wouldn't fund Furman baseball. How would funding a program that clearly had very little fan support do any goodwill? Well, I think it would. I mean, we have had a constant stream of people asking for Furman baseball back. You know, I'm buddies with Michael Stathakis. He owns Stack's Original Restaurant. Michael says the people that go to that frequent his restaurant were devastated that they took away Furman baseball. That is but a small gesture, okay, that could get you 1,000 new fans in the upstate.
How did attendance recover when UAB brought their football program back? Wasn't it a big deal?
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal for them. And like, look, you, Texter, you're arguing something that's silly, just I guess to take a dig at Furman. But you know, small schools, non-elite baseball programs rarely have great attendance anyway. And I'm talking SEC programs that stink. They don't have great attendance. ACC programs that stink don't have great attendance. So attendance at baseball, attendance smack in baseball is kind of a silly thing. It's like smack talking attendance for college wrestling. Like, why are you smack talking attendance for wrestling? It's dumb.
Texter says, just tuned in. What the heck did Tepper do now? Texter, exactly.
Crap the bed.
I mean, it doesn't this is beginning to sound like Groundhog Day, isn't it? Dave Tepper increased ticket prices for next year.
Just when you think he couldn't possibly be any dumber, he goes and does something like this and totally screws himself.
It's incomprehensible. It's just, guys, it's totally tone deaf. It doesn't even make any sense. And, you know, it's unbelievable to me that either no one inside Carolina Panthers offices has the power to stop Dave Tepper from himself, right? Or Dave Tepper doesn't listen to anybody in his office. Could you have an announcement that has worse optics than this? Carolina Panthers have lost the state of South Carolina. They have lost their own city of Charlotte, North Carolina. They were 2-15. They made the playoffs 4 times in 5 years before Dave Tepper took over. They made the playoffs no times in 7 years since Dave Tepper took over. What are you going to do? Keep firing coaches. And, oh, by the way, let's raise ticket prices. Because evidently, 45 cents was not low enough. Look at this, Diesel. This is what it looks like to be a Carolina Panthers fan these days. A Carolina Panthers fan pictured. This is a rare thing, Diesel, an endangered species. A Carolina Panthers fan looks on before a game between the Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers in December. And he is the only person there. I know you guys are saying, well, Mark Ryan, you're killing the Carolina Panthers. Guys, I hate what's going on here. I hate what's happened. You know, I've shared with you what I would do if I was David Tepper, okay? Raising ticket prices would be the last thing that I do. I would get my butt here to South Carolina, and I'd be doing outreaches all over Charlotte, all over North Carolina, all over South Carolina. You need to launch a presidential campaign. You need to act as though you're trying to win the primary for North and South Carolina. You need to be everywhere, and you're nowhere. And then this is the headline that we get. So I ask you guys, what would bring you back to the Carolina Panthers, if anything? Because we have noticed the fan base fall off a cliff in the 5 years that I've been here. And whereas I've been blamed for a lot in my time here in the upstate, not a single one of you can blame me for this. We'll get your thoughts on that. It's Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, and you're listening to the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Tomorrow, 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont, South Carolina. I believe that is the Powdersville store. We'll be out there. Hope to see you guys there with our great friends at Ingles Markets. The Renewal by Anderson fan phone is there for you at 844-326-3663, as is the text line 71307 to start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. The Carolina Panthers, in my opinion, have every argument now that Dan Snyder is no longer in Washington for having the worst owner in professional sports. You've got James Dolan of the Knicks, who people hate. I can't think of an owner in Major League Baseball right now that is universally loathed, okay? But it's pretty hard to be hated in the Carolinas. I got to be honest with you. I know that Clemson fans hate South Carolina and South Carolina fans hate Clemson. But if you're not either of those two entities, it's really hard to be hated. We've got beautiful scenery here in the Carolinas. Okay, beautiful scenery here in the Carolinas. Largely, the Carolinas I have found to be a very passive fan base. These people don't get worked up about a bunch. People that live and work in Raleigh, it's very chill, it's very relaxed, it's a passive fan base. Charlotte, more of a passive fan base. The upstate of South Carolina, outside of Clemson versus South Carolina in football, it's a passive sports base here. It's hard with a passive base who is just generally more relaxed and casual. It's really hard to get people to hate you. And I think Dave Tepper has done that, right? Now, I've always said when we do our show, it doesn't matter to me whether you guys love me, hate me, etc. We want you to have a strong opinion on the show, on the content. The worst thing you could ever have towards sports media, towards our show, towards a sports product, the worst feeling you could ever have is indifference. And Dave Tepper has landed as president of the Indifference Fan Club right now. I mean, he is that dude. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And then he continues to do crap like this. Guys, I'm fired up about this because I don't want this to be the relationship that the local community has with the NFL team. I'm fired up, but you guys would have to care more than you do to be fired up about Dave Tepper raising the prices. I think we have in this area the worst owner in all of professional sports. Period. And that is such a brutally difficult thing to overcome. What kind, you're going through the scenarios with your management team. Dave Tepper comes to the table. I think we raise ticket prices this year. Dave, I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? The Falcons are raising ticket prices. The Jaguars are. Dave, you're on your third coach in 3 seasons. You have not made the playoffs during your time here, Dave. Okay? No one in Rock Hill wants anything to do with you, Dave. People in South Carolina have forgotten all about you, Dave. You have tickets going for 45 cents, Dave. Dave!
Well, he talked about loyalty last year. Clearly, he only surrounds himself with yes men who tell him what he wants to. Yeah, Dave. Think how much more money we're going to make, Dave. We sold this many tickets last year. Now, increase all of that money by 4%. Isn't that going to be great? Isn't it going to be great how much more money we make? This is going to blow up in his face tremendously. And there will be thousands of people who say, you know what? Screw this. I'm giving up my PSL.
4% of zero is zero, Dave. You just increase the ticket prices by 4%. But no one is there to begin with. Let's check and see what you guys are saying on the text line today. Let's see here. Texter says, Furman could bring back Furman baseball. They didn't even have to get rid of it. Well, yes, they did. But he said, but to be fair, Tepper could easily fund it. Ticket prices more than 75 cents? What the hell? A texter says. Texter says, Tell Tepper just to move the Carolina Panthers to Canada. Who cares anymore? Texter says Dave Tepper could be the fastest owner to buy and sell a team and lose money on it because he's such a moron. The value of sports franchises have just exploded, absolutely exploded. Every sports franchise now is worth billions of dollars. Okay? This is a successful businessman. And he's running this like the mom and pop shop that never stood a chance. He's running this organization like that. It is insane to me. Texter says the rich get greedier and the team gets worse. Awesome job, Tep. Texter says, Diesel, I wasn't taking a shot at Furman nor their baseball program. My point was, out of the 1,000 fans that you create goodwill for, how many of those will be attending a football game in Charlotte the next year? Well, Texter, you build goodwill. I promise you, if Tepper did something like that, it'd be all over the papers. It'd be all over our shows. It'd be like, man, like he finally gets it. He's doing something to help out. Okay? Tepper lends a helping hand in the Spartanburg minor league stadium. Tepper getting involved in Greenville and Malden's refusal to build a soccer stadium in Malden. What's the problem, Dave Tepper says? We're here to help get it done. If you show that you care, right? If you are heavily involved in community outreach, people will care if you do. Okay? He could be using his money for a lot of good. He's not. This texter is wrong. He says Furman cut baseball and men's lacrosse, not softball and women's lacrosse. This was Title IX politics, and they're not coming back unless they start more women's teams to add the 40 men on scholarship for baseball and lacrosse. It's not going to happen. Texter, that's not accurate. That's just not accurate. Furman baseball was removed as part of cost-cutting measures of COVID-19 and the pandemic. And much like at most other schools, baseball was not a money-making venture at Furman. It was a venture that was very historic. They had traditions, but it wasn't money-making. So they cut it when they had to, when they had to tighten the purse strings. They shut down baseball. The only thing Tepper can do to make Panther fans like him at this point, Texter says, is sell the damn team. Texter says, I don't know, Mark. The Oakland A's owner is pretty awful. Pretty awful. Texter says most people come to see the other team at Carolina anyway. What's the other team at Carolina? What is it?
I did see a tweet earlier that said, at what point will Dave require you to buy tickets to Charlotte FC games to be able to buy Panther tickets?
That is the hot ticket in Charlotte, Diesel. That's the best ticket in Charlotte. I mean, you've got the Knights AAA, you've got Charlotte FC, you've got the Hornets, and you've got the Panthers. I'm telling you, every year, Diesel, we ask the questions, which fan base has it worse? Which city has it worse? I'm not sure there's another city that has it worse than Charlotte does right now. Now, Charlotte FC got their season underway last night with a dub. Would be great to see. They made the play-in for the playoffs last year. Charlotte did. They didn't make the playoffs, but they got into I think it was like the play-in, the NBA's version, MLS's version of the NBA's play-in. They made it there. They're on the come. They're on the ups.
Last year, Charlotte FC averaged 35,500 fans.
That's a big deal. How many did the Carolina Panthers average this year, Diesel? Tell me it's not more than that. Please tell me it's not more than that. Diesel, how unbelievable would it be? You ready for our headline of the day, Diesel? Charlotte FC averages more fans per game than the Carolina Panthers. If they don't, Diesel, it will be because of the road fans who are just coming to see their favorite team play. The Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, the San Francisco 49ers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what it would be. That's what it would be. 844-326-3663 is the number to get to us on the show.
Yeah, I'm not buying this.
What does it say?
This is saying average attendance for home games, 71,600.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on.
No one's buying that, man.
They've claimed the entire population of downtown Charlotte during the games. That's what they've done. How many butts in seats?
You sure they weren't just counting the number of cars that drove by on 85 through downtown Charlotte?
71,000 fans. My backside. You got to be kidding me. You know, Diesel, you and I saw games where there weren't 71 fans there. You know, I mean, literally not 71. That one game, who was it against? The Falcons in the rain. And it was against Atlanta. Atlanta wasn't going to the playoffs. Carolina wasn't going to the playoffs. It was like 43 degrees and raining. That was the game where we had 45-cent tickets. You mean to tell me there were 71,000 people there? Not buying it. Not buying it. Not buying it. Guys, this is it's a sad day. It's a sad day. You know, you have a guy that wasn't from the area come to the area, buy the team, ruin the team, tank the team. And it's not like you, the fans of the Carolina Panthers, are asking for much. You're just asking for hope. You know, if you are provided hope, you will sell yourself on all the rest. Okay, but you got such few good players on this team, and then there's a feeling that they're only going to be here for a period of time before they're going to want to win. Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Chuba Hubbard. You know, we have no way of knowing if Bryce Young is the real deal or if Carolina's just ruining him. It's guys. You know, it's not my MO to just come on here and spew negativity. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I want us to be. Okay? I just don't know what other way to do this. The Carolina Panthers owner is raising ticket prices after a 2-15 season that saw home games with nobody there, that saw home games going for sales prices of less than $1. Seriously. You got to be kidding me on this. Cut ticket prices 25 to 50%. Texter says, oh, this texter, great job, texter. You are doing what I've asked you to do. Okay, I really appreciate that. This texter is, the assignment was, what would it take to get you back? Okay, if you were once a Carolina Panthers fan and aren't really anymore, what would it take to get you back? This texter says, cut ticket prices 25 to 50%. Cut concessions, as Diesel said, make deals with downtown hotels for out-of-towners so people can drink many budget beers, okay? Half-off beers. Have some deals with these guys. Let's see here. Texter says, I have a take that no top 50 free agent will want to come play for the Panthers. You know, it was crazy, too, because, like, all year long, we're looking at, like, free agents for the Carolina Panthers and, like, oh, T. Higgins. That makes sense. Local kid. Carolina never drafts Clemson guys. They're going to want a Clemson guy. Cincinnati the other day, franchise tags T. Higgins. There goes the guy that was your dream. There goes your dream target. Ford, Bryce Young, franchise tagged. Sorry, Carolina Panthers fans. That name doesn't exist. Incidentally, Diesel, the name that has been linked most often this week to the Carolina Panthers in mock drafts is Xavier Legette from South Carolina. You know, projected at one point during the season was about a mid-first round pick. Now is sliding into the second round. Was quite possibly, along with Spencer Rattler, the only good reason to watch Gamecock football the last year. And could be, I mean, I can think of far worse picks that you could make than Xavier Legette at the top of round 2. Pick number 33 is essentially a late first round pick. That's what you got. Where are you going to go? Are you going to get him another weapon? Bryce Young, are you going to get him another weapon? Texter says, Diesel, I'm right with you on this. There is no way that Carolina averaged that many fans. No way in hell. I'm with you guys. I'm with you. And, you know, again, everything we do, guys, like everything we do, there's a reason why we do it. Okay? There's a reason, there's a method to our madness behind what we do. We want to kick Dave Tepper in the ass. We want to give him some spurs to the side. We want to get him going. We want him to make smart decisions. We want to call him out. We want him to hold him accountable. That's what we want to do here.
P Digits on the YouTube stream is suggesting Dave Tepper wants to move the team and says St. Louis is a real possibility. P. Digits, are you hearing this from any legitimate sources, or are these just people on the internet, like average Joes, tweeting out that they believe this is going to happen? You got to remember, you got to look for the people with authority on a subject, not just the minutia of dozens and dozens of people who probably don't know what they're talking about. Just because a lot of people are saying it doesn't mean that it makes it any more true.
Texter says Tepper will get me back if he lands the next coaching GM hire, gets South Carolina involved in the program again after pulling out of Rock Hill and Wofford, and gets involved in the community like the ideas you brought up, help fund schools like Furman, go Dins, get involved for the Triumph to get a stadium, etc. Get involved, community outreach, do something, show us that you care. Or just do what you do, Dave, and raise ticket prices. Do what you do. Diesel, this is so sad, and it's just absolutely clueless. And the fact that this guy doesn't get it. Diesel, for a minute, you and me, let's just imagine we work for the Carolina Panthers, okay? I know, Diesel, we've evolved, we graduated past that point in our lives.
You hate going to work every day.
Yeah, but you work with him, and you have a report to David Tepper, and what do you say? You don't want to lose your job. Dave Tepper is paying you $90,000 a year. You don't want to lose your job. Dave, all due respect, Dave, this is a really bad idea. Does anyone in those offices have the balls to say that to him? Dave, really bad idea, Dave.
That's when he stops and goes, now, how much money do I pay you? Okay, I'm worth $3 billion. Okay, I think I know what I'm talking about. You're fired. Get out of my sight.
Does anyone have the guts over there to tell him what he's doing? That he's essentially napalming his relationship with the entire community. Goodness gracious, man. Goodness gracious. You've got to be kidding me. Sometimes, guys, you read something and it just feels like I'm living in a cartoon.
Nolan Ryan says, never should have gotten rid of Jerry Richardson. That was a huge mistake. Now, Nolan, I know it's easy to look back with nostalgia on the Jerry Richardson era. I know that's easy. And it's certainly easy to say, well, compared to what Dave Tepper has done to tank the morale of the fan base, what Jerry Richardson did, which is essentially telling a couple of female employees that their butt looked good on casual blue jean day or whatever else, doesn't seem so bad. But you still can't do it. As Jerry Richardson, you still can't do it. What Jerry did, which cost him the team, was still wrong. But now you're looking back on it like maybe it's not so bad because Dave Tepper has made Jerry look good when Jerry made himself look bad.
Johnny Carrots, our buddy, is coming at you, Diesel. He says, now your guy Diesel is just questioning somebody wanting to know where he's hearing this info from. P. Digits. Maybe y'all don't run in the same circles as P. Digits. You got to look at the source of the info. Well, yeah, but we're wanting to make sure, Johnny Carrots, that this coming from a reputable source. My point yesterday.
And even P. Digits said, no, this is just me speculating.
It's him speculating, Johnny Carrots. So even yesterday, and I was still getting this today, Diesel, and I finally got it so often that I had to respond to it because it's literally driving me nuts. I heard today, Diesel, this guy, Timothy Lee, Rockin' the Tiger fan, said to me, I respectfully disagree with your take on Clemson yesterday, Mark, that, they shouldn't settle for, what Clemson has become. They should demand that Clemson get back to what they were. They shouldn't settle. I respectfully disagree. I haven't heard any Clemson fans that I know say that we're settling. And I said, dude, it's unbelievable that people feel, if they haven't heard of anything in their circle, that thing doesn't exist. That's mind-boggling to me. We're blessed to have a platform here where we cover the entire upstate, guys. I'm not trying to flex on you and say, hey, man, Diesel and I are big-time media people, and, you got, 20 friends. I'm not trying to flex on you with that. It's kind of obvious to me, guys, that, we have a show that reaches a lot of people, that we hear things that you don't hear. So it floors me, Diesel, that anyone about anything has a defense that is, I haven't heard that.
Well, there's a lot of people who refuse to believe anything unless they see proof. And those same people will believe a lot of things without seeing any proof. So like,
Do those people believe in God?
Right?
Where it's like, show me your proof.
Yeah. I mean, they feel like we need to categorize and screenshot everything to prove to them that what we know to be true, which is a series of text messages and phone calls that we've gotten over the past 6 months to a year, we know that that opinion exists. And I was listening to a Josh Pate clip this morning. He said there's always a rule of 10. For every one person you hear complaining about something, there's 10 more people who feel the exact same way who won't speak up. There is a culture amongst Clemson fans that you don't want to speak out against Dabo. And it's because the vast majority of you say things like, he's our guy no matter what. I believe he's going to get us right. And if those people speak out against that, you're gonna smack them back down and say, no, I don't believe it. You're a plant. You're not real.
Yeah. So this texter says, so again, I don't know where you're hearing that, but it ain't Clemson fans. So texter, you just said that, right? On my Twitter, Christian Hamblin, Clemson fan, okay, says, I really thought it was almost impossible for us to win it all. After Dabo won the titles, I was set for life as a Clemson fan. I'm content now with what we've done. Dabo's good for me for life. And I said to him, Diesel, please highlight yourself as an example of what we were talking about. Many in this thread act like this guy doesn't exist, but yet they've existed on this show. They've existed on Twitter. And like, it's guys, to my message to all of you, realize that Diesel and I are privy to a ton of opinions from multiple states. Okay, we have a finger on the pulse of a fan base. I'm not saying all the Clemson fans are like that. Not all Clemson fans are saying, hey, it's okay that we're only number 16 now in the poll. But some of them are. Some of them are saying, hey, we got more from Dabo than we ever could have imagined, ever could have envisioned. And you're settling for it, right? I'm telling you, be able to see outside of your circle. It's there. We've offered you proof. We've offered you evidence. We are seeing this. We are living this every single day, and it's offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, we are the fan upstate. After essentially screwing over the South Carolina fan base, removing training camp, screwing over the fan base on the border of North and South Carolina, pulling out from the Rock Hill corporate headquarters. Guys, I may have seen an idea just now during the commercial break that is worse. Wendy's, Diesel, true story. It's been reported in the New York Post, so it must be true.
They're bringing back the solariums?
Wendy's is planning Uber-style surge pricing where burger prices fluctuate based on demand. Oh my God. Sandra Golden, a friend of mine in Atlanta, she says Wendy's is drunk, y'all. So, in other words, drunk pricing, Diesel. Can you imagine Taco Bell doing that when you were in college? The 1 a.m. Taco Bell. No, the line is long now. Tacos cost more. Surge pricing depending upon the demand. Guys, I think I may have just heard of a worse idea than Dave Tepper's raising ticket prices by 4% for next season. All right, my friends, coming up next on the show, I am going to place you in the most enviable of positions. You cannot wait to hear the opportunity that you will have when Offsides returns. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Tomorrow, we'll be at Ingles in Powdersville. Now, this is not a complaint, guys. I think this is adorable, actually. Okay? It's not a complaint. But you know how, I always joke and I always tease how there's so many different town names here, and why don't we just call the whole area the Upstate or the whole area Greenville? This is a special one because the address is 10903 Anderson Road. Anderson is a town. The address is listed as being Piedmont, but it's actually in Powdersville. Okay? What are we doing here?
It's confusing as hell.
Anderson Road in Piedmont, that is actually Powdersville.
There are a lot of roads around here that are named for the place they lead to. Not the place that you're in, it's the place that you lead to. If you're on Anderson Road, you're going to Anderson. If you're on Simpsonville Street, you're going towards Simpsonville. If you're on Spartanburg Highway, you're going to Spartanburg. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What's more confusing than that, Mark? That we have roads named after towns not in the town where they are, or my hometown, which is divided into 4 quadrants. And there's a northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest, and the same streets exist in each quadrant. There's a First Street Northwest. There's a First Street Southwest.
What town is this?
Hickory, North Carolina.
Oh, God.
There's a First Street Southeast. There's a First Street Northeast.
Can't handle this.
And there's so many of them. You got to know what part of town you're in.
Please make it stop.
To know which First Street you're going to. I would say Hickory is about the size of Anderson, if I had to guess.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, guys, if you can find us, I believe it's the Ingles in Powdersville. But it's 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. That is actually officially Powdersville. I think I've got that. Texter says, Mark, thank God for Sunday Ticket in the Red Zone channel so I don't have to watch the crap that is the Carolina Panthers every single week.
Hey, thank God for just turning your TV off. That's an even better way to not watch that crap.
I want to pour a beer on Dave Tepper. I see what you did there, Texter. I absolutely see what you did there. Texter says, Johnny Carrot says, I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all are the best in the business. Johnny, we love you, man. Look, there's this weird feeling in society today where you can't disagree with somebody without thinking they're going to say something about your mama. We're not like that. You disagreeing with us, you coming at us. We do not take that as an affront or a threat. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your participation.
But see, Johnny Carrots also said, you act like it's the overwhelming majority is the point he's trying to make. Jonathan, you know where our podcasts are hosted. They're on thefanupstate.com. They're on the Odyssey app. They're on Spotify. They're on Apple Podcasts. They're on Google Podcasts. I invite you to pull the clip and send it to us. Show us exactly where we said the majority of fans think this way. Neither one of us ever said that a majority of fans think this way, but you're up in your feels, Jonathan, okay? You got your blood pressure all up. You're getting all twitchy. You're like JoJo, the Indian circus boy, with a pretty new pet. You got this thing that you're just ready to strangle. But Jonathan, please, pay attention to the words we say, not the way you feel after the words we say. And if either of us ever said the majority of Clemson fans feel this way, please, I don't invite you, I challenge you to pull the clip. Give us a timestamp. Tell us exactly where we said that.
Oh, it's so easy to do too, guys. I mean,
it's so easy.
Any of the places Diesel told you, or the Odyssey app, AUDACY, put in the Fan Upstate, pull up the audio from yesterday, screen record it, tweet it out. Very, very easy to do. Guys, I wanted to shift gears here to this. So we're now a couple months removed. Oh, thank you, Diesel, for the reminder. Before we get to that, let's get to Remington. who's in Spartanburg and wants to chime in. Remington, thanks for hanging on, bud. What's good?
Hey, Mark. I want to talk about that topic you had going on yesterday.
Sure.
About Clemson fans settling with their production.
Now, again, Remington, you really have to be careful. You can't say all. You got to say some, right? But the words that I used were, I'm hearing way too many of you, okay? Way too many Clemson fans say things like, well, we had a good run under Dabo. He's our guy. Once you raise the bar, Remington, that's the bar. Never change it.
I agree with that 100%. But real quick, I'm a diehard NC State Wolfpack fan.
Those exist? Those exist? There is
Yes.
a diehard
Yeah,
NC State Wolfpack fan? Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
They're hard to find around here, but yeah. But anyway, I have a message for the Clemson fans that are settling. If I was a Clemson fan, I would not settle, especially after I guess you could call it a historic run with a championship and playoff runs and all that stuff. If I was a Clemson fan, I wouldn't settle for anything less than that because, like you said, they set the standard. So that needs to stay the standard. And me being a Wolfpack fan, I kind of want your opinion on this. And that guy who called yesterday was saying other teams aren't on an uptick. Well, then you've got NC State, who we've been having 8, 9, 10 win seasons last, I don't know how many years in a row now, but Dave Doran, he just became NC State's winningest head coach this past season. And I love Dave Doran, don't get me wrong, but at what point and how does NC State get over the hump of 8, 9, 10 wins? And how do we win the ACC and do what Florida State has done and do what Clemson has done? And I'm not calling for Dave Doran's head yet, but how do we get to that point other than scheduling Tennessee for opening week? And how do we win the ACC? And, as a hungry NC State fan, if I was a Clemson fan, I wouldn't settle because I'm not settling for 9 and 10 win seasons. I want more, and you always should want more. So, and a huge shout out to Clemson fans being hospitable when the Wolfpack does come to Clemson. I can't say the same about Carolina Gamecock fans, even though I am a Carolina Gamecock fan. But huge shout out to Clemson fans for being hospitable. And thank you for taking my call. And let me know what you think NC State needs to do to get over the hump.
So you got to be careful, Remington, because Dave Doran is better than 90% of the head coaches you've had, okay? I understand your frustration. Everyone around Raleigh wants to just be cool with, hey, man, we're 8-4. We're NC State. That's good for us. You know as well as I do, Diesel, Gamecock fans, if Beamer dropped 8-4 every year, they'd be good with that for at least a while. So I hear you, and the reality is there is no geographical reason why NC State couldn't be better than 8 or 9 wins a year.
Speaking of the hospitality of Clemson fans, don't forget it was Clemson Dude who offered to teach NC State fans how to engage in this very specific skill.
I will teach NC State Nation how you have a victory cigar.
Johnny Carrot says, so if you admit it's only a few and not the majority, then just admit you're stirring the pot, and I'm okay with that. I like the pot stirring, so says Johnny. It's something we continued to hear. Johnny. Like it's a narrative that keeps coming back. Whenever you complain about Dabo, whenever you say, man, I don't like that he's not using the transfer portal, you keep hearing, I'm just grateful for what we got. I'm grateful we got 2 national championships. As far as I'm concerned, Dabo can coach as long as he wants, do things his way as long as he wants. I've heard that, Johnny, way too many times, and it's repetitive, and it keeps coming back, okay? And I don't screenshot it all because I don't, I just share with you guys what we experienced.
Got better things to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can say. Let's see here, guys. Okay, I want you guys to ponder something here. And we will get to part of this on this side of the segment and the other half of this after the next segment. Okay, so we'll hit this now. We'll hit this at like 4:45. Okay, but I want you to be pondering this because this to me is fascinating. I am figuratively, so this means not really, okay? I am giving you guys a $6,800 sports allowance, okay? It's your allowance. The only thing you have to do, it's like a store credit. I'm not going to give you the cash that you can keep. I'm giving you a $6,800 sports allowance that you can use as you wish on sports. Not jerseys, not clothes, not hats, sports. Sports games, sports tickets, sports trips. Okay, sports. Why are we doing this? Because I was looking at this last week. The average this is still, Diesel, there's something about this that is so un-American. You know, like the fact that my parents have been to a Super Bowl and it was only, Diesel, because of like a corporate, you know, my dad, I think, worked for Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola had a few corporate tickets and my dad was able to take my mom, and I'm still pissed that they didn't bring me. I'm like, God, Mom, I was so tiny, you could have shoved me in your purse back then. So they went to a Super Bowl. The average Super Bowl ticket price is $6,800. Just the ticket, okay? Just the ticket. Not parking, not your hotel, not your airfare, not your food, not your drink, not your beverage. The ticket cost $6,800, okay? And I'm gonna be real with you guys. It would be pretty cool to be able to say we have been to a Super Bowl. That'd be pretty cool, right? Like that is a bucket list item. To just one. I don't need to go to more than one. It's a spectacle. You know, it'd be cool to be inside the building of the most watched TV event in the world, right? But my question to you guys is simply, I'm going to give you, figuratively, $6,800, okay? You can spend that to get your Super Bowl tickets or anything else you want in sports. Anything else you want. Are you going with a Super Bowl ticket? Are you going with something else? A few other things? What are you going with if I'm giving you the average cost of a Super Bowl ticket allowance, $6,800? What are you going with? What is your go-to? What a nice surprise that would be. And I will caution you, because this is where Diesel and I come off a little bit pretentious. We're not, but we do. Diesel, when's the last time you paid for a sporting event? Go.
Oh, man. It's probably a Swamp Rabbit game ticket that I requested and just couldn't get any, and I paid like $10 a pop for them 2 years ago.
Okay. So 2 years ago, 2 years ago, Diesel bought a $10 Swamp Rabbits ticket, okay? That's the last ticket that he's purchased in sports. This is, see, we come off pretentious.
If not, maybe it was a drive game last year, and those were probably $10.
Right. Okay. So my wife was saying to me, I'm bummed, Mark, that anytime you go to a Clemson game, I can't come because you're in the press box. Like, I feel like I'm never going to get to go to a game with you. So Diesel, I quote unquote splurged. It was Wake Forest, 2 tickets, $86, not each, 2 tickets total, $86. Great. I went. That's it. Diesel. Those are the only sports tickets I have purchased in the 5 years that I have been here. The only ones. I haven't purchased anything else. And so this is hard for you and me, because you and I don't purchase sports tickets. This
you don't know.
Where we come across like snobs.
You don't know how many times my wife has said to me, the fringe benefits where you work are really good. Like free concert tickets, free sports tickets. You get almost anywhere you want to go for free. Not every time, but most of the time.
Yeah, you do. So we're going to ask you guys that question, okay? You get a $6,800 allowance, okay? You can spend that to go to the Super Bowl or anything else you want in sports. Are you going to the Super Bowl or are you going to somewhere else? Diesel, you think a majority of people are going to the Super Bowl with that? That's their Super Bowl ticket?
No.
Or a majority of people doing something
They're
else?
doing something else. I have no desire whatsoever to go to a Super Bowl.
Not even one.
Not one.
What if it was all expenses paid?
No.
No?
I don't have an interest in that.
The spectacle? Not to be there in the building?
I got my own spectacles. They're right here.
Texter said, no, you don't get to add it to your savings, Texter. Like that's, you have to spend it on sports. Okay. You don't get to just tuck it away. UNC Chris says $6,800. I could see 1,008,437 Carolina Panthers games for that price. For that price. There you go. I'm going to see 34 Steelers games at $200 a pop. So says A to the MFJ. All right, guys. So there you have it. There is the challenge. I'd like you to be thinking about this, okay? What would you spend? You can either get a Super Bowl ticket or $6,800 that you have to spend on sports. Where are you spending your coin? Jerseys not allowed. Hats, shirts not allowed. I'm talking about games. You're going to games, okay? What are you spending it on? Think about it. We'll return to this conversation at 4:45 p.m. because we've got our guy Jake Crane joining us next right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. The Fan Upstate rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Joining us right now is a great friend of the show. He's got his own incredibly successful sports talk show. That is Crane and Company, part of the Real Daily Wire, the newly married, the newly minted Jake Crane joins us on the show. Jake, we're going to have some fun today, man. Are you ready?
Oh, God, sign me up. Fun on a Tuesday. I love it.
There we go. So, Jake, I was reading this today. A couple that was getting married, okay? Now, Jake, this could very well be one of those situations where, you and I have both gotten married in the last year and a half. Why didn't we think of this? They said, in lieu of any sort of wedding gift or registry, y'all just pay for the reception, all of y'all. So anyone who's going to be at the reception is paying for their head at the reception, okay? So it's $40 for adults, $20 for kids. Nobody pays for the reception. Is this onsides or offsides, Jake Crane?
Oh, look, it's onsides. I mean, sometimes you got to run a reverse. I mean, sometimes you got to throw a little trickeration in there. I get it. Again, listen, like for a lot of our wedding gifts, they're just sitting in a china cabinet and we're never going to use them except like once a year. So, yeah, when it comes down to making that move, I mean, I'm not throwing a penalty. In fact, I'm writing that one down and saving it to look at later. I love it.
Jake Crane joining us here on the show. Okay, Jake, another fun sidebar for you. We're asking our audience, the average Super Bowl ticket, this is so un-American, Jake, is $6,800, okay? Average. You ever been to a Super Bowl, Jake?
No, and for that amount of money, unless I'm going for free, then, I'm not going. I'll watch it we'll live stream it on Crane and Company, or I'll watch it on my TV and not have to wait in line at the bathroom. The beer's cheap. And, I could turn the channel during commercials if I want to. It's a great situation, and it costs me, whatever, your drinking costs.
Yeah, there you go. So here it is, Jake. Here it is, $6,800. You can go to the Super Bowl for that money, and I got a ticket for you. Or you can use that money somewhere else in sports. Just no jerseys or hats or things like that. You actually have to use it to go to sports. You going to the Super Bowl, or what are you going to?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that money that you gave me. I'm going to buy a plane ticket to Las Vegas, and whatever the difference is on that, I'm going to put Georgia to cover the spread.
Wow, there you go. Not bad. Not bad, brother.
Yeah, Jake,
look, I'm trying to get a return on my investment. I'll have a great time sitting in the sportsbook watching.
Jake, I believe in principle that John Shire, Bill Self, Matt Painter, and other guys like them are right about the court storming and how it very easily could become a dangerous situation. I mean, I get in the Duke case, Kyle Filipowski definitely tried to check that Wake student into the first row, so he's not entirely innocent in this situation. But it's still so hard to agree with John Shire because he's just got that punchable Duke face. I don't know what it is about people who attended Duke or played at Duke, coached at Duke. You just kind of want to hit them all. So who is it
Yeah,
in
they kind of got that Slytherin vibe.
who in sports does it kind of irk you or drive you nuts most when you agree with them?
Probably Steve Kerr. Just because I just disagree with like 99.9 of the other percent stuff. Then I'll say something. It's like that thing, that meme, the worst person you know just made a great point. Sometimes he'll say stuff and I'm like, and most times that's to a basketball. I'm like, yeah, that's the best way I think you could have put that. But the other 99% of the times it just, I don't know. It's not just what he's saying, but it's kind of almost in that Duke vein. There's just something about it. I mean, he said Steph Curry is more skilled than basically Michael Jordan, which I think is laughable at best. But to go back to the court storming thing, why do we make things so difficult? Why do we make them so complex? It's really easy. Here's what you do. You already have a 30-second shot clock in college. If you know there's a team you got at home that they're going to storm the court, you have your security set up, you wait 30 seconds so the players can get off the court, the visiting players. Once that 30-second clock goes off, y'all go have at it. Y'all going to have just as much fun as you would 30 seconds earlier, and nobody gets run over. And if you run on there before, you get treated like if you ran on the court during the middle of the game or anything like that. So I feel like there's a really easy fix. The clock's already built in to do it. You already have security there. So why did we got other stuff to worry about, man? Can we figure this one out?
Jake, I said, why not penalize the team? You see that at soccer games. If there's wait, hold up. You see that at soccer games, right? If a team, if a fan base is yelling a racial epithet, that team forfeits the game. Okay, you are guilty of hate speech. You forfeit the game. If you are endangering players by rushing the field, you forfeit the win. Why not?
Well, to go back to the first thing you said, if it was that easy, which I don't think that happens at every game, why wouldn't you just dress up as the opposite team's jersey if you're a fan of the team and go scream racial epithets until they forfeit? I don't think that's a plausible way to go. And believe me, if Harvey Updike will poison a tree in the middle of a city, somebody will definitely go do that to secure the win. And it messes with betting too. So when you look at, if the team that you bet against is winning, all you got to do is put on a jersey and go scream racial epithets. The game stops. It's voided. You don't lose any money. That's a dangerous rabbit hole. The second thing is I don't want to penalize the players for something that a fan is doing. That's unfair. That's like penalizing the baker because the butcher went out and ran somebody over. It's not my fault they did that. To me, again, it's very, very simple. If you either fine the school so much that they have to have a deterrent, like I just mentioned, right? Or if that rule is broken, that person or people gets penalized the same way you would as running on the court. I just don't think you can punish the team, number one, because what a fan said, but you can't put the game in the fans' hands. I just don't think that's plausible.
Jake, here's two very easy solutions to this. Number one, I've been to many, and I'm sure you have as well, big concerts, 30, 40,000 people at concerts. You know what they have right in front of the stage to keep fans from getting on the stage? Big ass metal barricades. That's solution number one. Solution number two, and this is the more ludicrous solution, is you put a moat around the court and you have sharks with frickin' laser beams on their frickin' heads, and that stops the fans from wanting to go in.
For sure. It just goes back to the Austin Power. Why would you shut the doors? Why don't you just, we'll kill them right now and be done with it. But no, look, again, the barriers thing, I guess here's the thing. I don't mind court storming. I don't mind storming the field, but can we just have a little bit of a rule set in place or a shot clock to get the opposing players off of the field, and then it'll all be fine. 30 seconds in, you go out there, hey, let's go roll Toomer's corner, whatever. About the Filipowski thing, though. See, I don't think he really tried to check that guy, because he was going to check that guy, and I'm 7'3" and as big as he is, I'm not tripping you. I'm going to push you in up to the second row of the arena. I just think he turned around, and it was like the arrows from the movie 300 going to Leonidas, and he didn't know what to do, because if you're standing in a stampede of demon deacons, you got to do something.
Jake Crane joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Jake, why do they want to make college football and March Madness a tournament-only sport? Does anyone at the controls actually care about the health of college football? Because as you know, Jake, the regular season is a playoff. It makes college football incredibly unique, incredibly special. The only month we talk about college basketball is the one that's coming up, and that's it. And they made it that way with what they did at the tournament. I get disgusted every time I keep hearing that our playoff is going to continue to expand.
Yeah, well, look, in my opinion, the biggest thing, and Mark, I think we talked about this since I've been coming on your show, man. The thing I was worried the most about with playoff expansion was the watering down of the regular season. Because, look, basketball and football are way different. You can play a lot more games in basketball than you can in football. There's a reason they play twice a week as opposed to once a week. You can shorten the regular season a little bit and still have that big tournament and be fine. But in college football, all you hear about is player safety, right? So if they're going to add games to the playoff, they're definitely not going to add more games to the regular season. They're going to start taking games away. So the more that the playoff adds games, the less regular season games we're going to have. They may end up not playing conference championship games anymore. It would shock me because they're such big money makers, but we may get to the point where they see more financial gain on the back end of having more teams in the playoff, because the games have, quote unquote, more significance. And now let's just go back to 11-game regular season. I don't want that. That's why I said I thought the perfect number was 8 for the college football playoff, because even if they wanted to move it up, well, you move it up to 10, you still don't water down the regular season too much. Well, once you started at 12 and we're already here and they're thinking about going to 14 at some point, then you start eating into the regular season, because they've walked themselves into a corner with this player safety situation. And it looks, remember in the NFL when they added regular season games and everybody was talking about how dangerous it is now, and with all the CTE stuff coming out, how big of a problem that was? They've seen how that worked out. So they're not going to add more games in the regular season. That's what worries me. They're going to start trading playoff seeds for regular season games.
Jake, group of 5 head coaches leaving to be position coaches at Power 5 schools. Is this a big deal or no deal at all? I say it's no deal, because power will always form a vacuum, and somebody who has talent and somebody who has a desire to be a head coach will always seek to fill that position. There's a reason why I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head. It was the guy from Georgia that just took the job as head coach at Georgia State. He wanted to be a head coach, and this is his best opportunity to be a head coach. Talent will always fill those roles. So to me, I say it's not that big of a deal. What do you think?
Well, the thing about Dell is Dell just wanted to be an offensive coordinator. He wanted to move up and be an offensive coordinator. Not only did he surpass that, he went straight to the head coach at a place like Georgia State. So good for Dell. He's deserved it. A great guy, great man overall. But when look, I've been in the business. I was in it for a decade, right? 6.5 at the Division I level. Every coaching job is circumstantial. That's why when, everybody said, oh, Sean Elliott leaving the head coach position at Georgia State to go to South Carolina, it just goes to show you that college football's being ruined. Or, Kane Womack leaves South Alabama as the head coach to be the DC at Alabama. No, the one that blew my mind was, Jeff Hafley, the head coach at Boston College, left to become the defensive coordinator for the Packers. So I guess nobody wants to coach in college football anymore. No, it's all circumstantial. You got to look at each job on its own. If Jeff Hafley did not win 8 games next year at Boston College, he was going to get fired. He barely escaped getting fired this year, especially after they lost to Holy Cross early. You look at Sean Elliott. Sean Elliott was on the hot seat going into next year, and we're already seeing somewhat of a split of the Power 5 and the Group of 5. I think some of these coaches see it down the pipe, but everybody's panicking about that. Kane Womack was not about to get fired at South Alabama, but his best friend in the world just got the head coaching job at Alabama, hired him as the defensive coordinator, which is a better pathway to a bigger head coaching job than being the head coach at South Alabama. And I'm a South Alabama alum. So then you look, and I didn't hear anybody crying about this when Sean Lewis 2 years ago left being the head coach at Kent State to be the offensive coordinator at Colorado, got demoted halfway through the season, and then still got the head job at San Diego State. So that pathway was already getting carved. But we have a bad habit in sports media of generalizing, not you guys, but a lot of people, of generalizing all the coaching realm into one. Coaching jobs are circumstantial. Chip Kelly, that was an anomaly, a total anomaly. You will probably not see that happen again.
Jay Crane and Company, Real Daily Wire, joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, we are the Fan Upstate. Okay, Jake, so here's the question. There are 9 teams in college football that are a better bet than not to make the 12-team playoff next year. My question to you is, which of these 9 teams is not going to make the college football playoff? So each of these 9 have a better than 50-50 shot of getting in. Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Florida State, Clemson, Kansas State, Michigan, Utah.
I would say, I think there's a couple that are in trouble there, or could be in trouble. You know, you got to think somebody's going to come out of the ACC, right? But you got to take one of Clemson and Florida State. We still got to see it consistently with Clemson. I like Klubnik. I like Garrett Riley. But this Dabo Swinney Boy Scout way of going through college football isn't really working right now. And you're losing Haru the Great White Ninja, Will Shipley, after he'd been there for what seemed like 47 years. But I look at Florida State. I don't trust DJU. I just don't. He's like the zero sugar version of Joe Milton. Like, his arm's not as strong, but they have the same problems. Like, it's just the truth. He's not Jordan Travis. They don't have Johnny Wilson anymore. They don't have Keon Coleman, Jaheim Bell. Not that they're bad, are going to be a poor football team, but I think there's a decent chance they don't make the playoff. Now, when I look at Kansas State, you know, you look at the quarterback situation. Obviously, Will Howard going up to Ohio State, which I think obviously them and Georgia, it's going to be hard for me not to pick them to be playing each other in the national championship. But I would love Kansas State in there. And then Michigan. Look, a lot of moving parts. And it's not just the coaching staff. Obviously, that hurts. But you're losing your quarterback. You're losing most of your offensive line. You do return some decent pieces on defense, but you're not going to get the same output and veteran leadership in a Big Ten that now just added Oregon as well. I know they added USC, UCLA, and Washington, but I feel like Oregon can come in year one and really be a problem. So I think there's 4 or 5 that may not make it out of that group.
Jake, is there a team that you see kind of coming from maybe out of the preseason top 25? And I know we've just kind of got it in way too early, preseason top 25. We don't know what it's actually going to be, but there's always a team that comes from the high 20s or even 30s and makes a deep run up to the top 10, top 15. Do you look at any school right now and say, I think they have the ingredients that it takes to make a run like that this year?
Man, you know, Miami with Cam Ward's really interesting to me. And I know people laugh at Mario Cristobal. I mean, dude, just take a knee. I get it. But if you look at what they bring back up front and you look at bringing in Cam Ward and the talent they still have on that defense and a chip on the shoulder, Miami's very, very intriguing to me. You know, the easiest place to look would obviously probably be in the Big 12 somewhere. You know, you look at the Big Ten, I think Ohio State, there's really nobody right now in the Big Ten that I think is going to make such a huge jump. I don't think Purdue's going to do it in year 2 of their new head coaching regime out there. I feel like it's going to be Ohio State, kind of everybody else, or with Oregon. I think those will be the 2 out of there. But I look at the Big 12. I think Utah's going to win it right now. I think they're going to come in the league and win it year 1. But Texas Tech, very, very, very interesting to me. I find them kind of fascinating going into this next year with the speed they return. I like Joey McGuire and how he goes about things. You know, look around the SEC, you know, coming out of the top 25, again, and I know you said this, Diesel, but without knowing where they're going to be ranked, it's going to be tough. Auburn's interesting, but you do got to go to Georgia. You do got to go to Alabama. That's always tough. But I tell you a team that maybe just to watch out, you know, just under the radar to sneak in there. Watch out for SMU now. Just watch out for them this year with Rhett Lashley. I really like what they did last year. They return a lot of pieces. Don't be shocked if you start hearing their name being mentioned later and later in the year next year.
Jay Crane joining us here on the show. Jake, Which of the NFL draft quarterback hopefuls is going to have the best career?
Oh man, that's a great question. The best career. I mean, Caleb Williams is an easy answer. There's some things I don't, off the field about him. I'm not.
I said no to him. I said no to him for that reason, Jake. I don't,
Yeah,
I don't like dictating where he's going to play. I didn't like not playing in the bowl game with his team. I didn't like some of the off-field stuff as well.
He's also not going to throw at the combine.
He's not throwing at the combine. There
Yeah.
you go. So, I mean, give me a break. What are you hiding? I like Jaden Daniels a lot.
Man, that's where I was going to go. That's where the only thing is, this man has got to understand, if Anthony Richardson cannot survive running around in the NFL like he did in college, Jaden Daniels cannot do it either, or they will break him in half. Anthony Richardson is 3 times the size of Jaden Daniels from a thickness standpoint. If he can stay healthy, I think, he's going to have a chance with his legs to do some pretty, impressive things. I think he's got a lot of Kyler Murray in him, but he's more mature. He's obviously bigger. He just got to learn how to run. But, don't sleep on my guy, Drake May, right? Don't sleep on my guy, Drake May. I think some guys are kind of down in him a little bit for some reason. I saw Cal Hurd come out and say he wouldn't take him in the first round. I watched this cat play for 3 years. He's big time. And there's a lot of NFL GMs that are hoping a lot of more negative news comes out about Drake May, so he may fall a little bit further and then fall a little bit further. The dude can ball.
Well, for what it's worth there, Tom Pelissero reported this morning that Jaden Daniels also not going to throw at the combine. So it's a great question. What are those two guys hiding?
Here's the thing. If I have to watch you go run around in your panties and throw the ball at a combine, and because I don't know yet, that's the most unrealistic thing you will ever do. It's the dumbest thing that we ever do. The fact that we run the 40 without football pads on, the fact that guys run, it's the Zach Wilson effect. Oh, I don't even have, if you've ever thrown a football with pads on and pads off, you know how different it is. The way we do it is so stupid. And if you base everything on a player at the combine the way they throw, as opposed to the way they throw when some of these monsters from Mordor are running at them while they're in the pocket with pads on, then, there's some beachfront property in Kansas that I could give you a great deal on.
Our friend Jake, J-Boy Crane, at @JCrane_ on Twitter, host of the national sports show Crane and Company, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, part of Real Daily Wire. Love seeing his star rise. Jake, thank you so very much, my friend.
Hey, it's always fun to join you guys. Man, that reception idea was great.
There you go. There you go. All right. Jake Crane joins us on the show. Back to your ideas for how to use your money. $6,800. You get a Super Bowl ticket, or you can spend that money on what you want in sports. That's next right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan of state. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Great to have you guys with us on a Super Tuesday edition of the show. Guys, I am temporarily distracted here. I got news that one of the nicest people that I had the privilege of calling a media colleague in Houston, Texas, passed away. Her name was Maggie McKeithen. She was incredibly fun-loving, and this has happened to me too often recently. About a month ago, I got news that my former producer in Atlanta passed away. There was somebody else that I knew that was in her 30s and passed away in the last month. And, I don't even know what happened or how this came to be, but she was so kind and so supportive and so fun. And she's gone way too soon. So going to snap back into it. Wanted to share that with you guys. And really just, it's hard when something like that hits you on the air and you don't even have a chance to process it. You don't even have a chance to process it. It was gosh, this was, I want to say 2021. It was August of 2021. And the guy that was the single person that has been the most supportive of me in my career passed away from COVID, you know? And it was funny. You guys, you know, again, I'm going to share this with you and then I'm going to move on. He begged me not to do the vaccine trial, right? He begged me. He said, Mark, don't do the vaccine trial for COVID. Begged me. I did it. Obviously, he wasn't vaccinated. He passed away from COVID-19. And I was just absolutely destroyed about that. And that happened when I was at an Ingles show, and I was live during an Ingles show. And it just kind of like, you know, it's like, how do you continue with that punch to the gut? How do you go on? I don't know, man. It's this is happening far too often, man. Far, far, far too often. Guys, the never smooth segue back to sports conversation. Let's do it. We're giving you $6,800. $6,800, okay, to spend on a sports event of your choice, okay? You can, why $6,800? Because that is the price of the average Super Bowl tickets, okay? That's the price of the average Super Bowl ticket. So you can take that $6,800 and go to the Super Bowl. Here's your ticket. Or you can spend it in another way. How are you spending it? It's just got to be spent on sports. What is your suggestion? Let's go first to Rich in Chicago. Rich, you got $6,800. You can go to the Super Bowl or you can use it somewhere else in sports. What are you doing?
I'm like you and Diesel, being semi-connected to the media world through marketing. That's what I did in my entire life. I've been to 5 Super Bowls, all expenses paid, never paid a dime. Been to 8 Wimbledons in tennis because my corporation sponsored tennis. And I'm like you. I don't buy the tickets. I think you're going to be a moron to spend $6,800. I'd rather sit in a sports bar with my friends and watch it. I'll take the $6,800 and I'll spend it on. I'm just screwing around. I'm not paying that.
Well, you got to spend it on sports. So you're going to buy Bears season tickets?
That would be death. That would be a death wish. I would try to. I would be a minority owner in some soccer team.
Okay.
I would be an investor.
Okay.
And just because of the value of the franchise, and that was the reason I originally called it. I'll be very brief because I've got some data. I told Diesel this about why the Panthers are on a death march. This is really interesting to me, and I do it because I'm a marketing guy. And this data was brought to me, and I thought it was very interesting about how the Panthers brand is in deep trouble. They're the number one most discounted ticket as a visiting team in the NFL.
Wow. Where do you get that information?
I've got it from, hold on here, I need you to ask me. Statista has it, and Finance Buzz. They're talking about what do you do when you're on the road in terms of attendance. There's 2 pieces of data there. The first thing that says the prices went on the road for the home team tickets declined 36% in the resale market. No one wants to go. So if you can't sell tickets at home, and when you're on the road, no one gives a crap about going to your game. I think you got to take a hard look at what you're doing. And the reason I say that, and most fans, I know you guys know this, but 83%, no, excuse me, it's 75% of the income that every team gets is from the TV contracts. And get this, it doesn't matter if you're in Charlotte or New York. Last year it was $249 million. Their share of the TV cut.
Right.
Now, when you consider tickets are only 17% of their income stream, the owners, people don't understand. The owners don't care about the fans. The other thing is the players don't. Let me tell you, the players don't. The salary cap escalation in the last 4 years because of the TV money. How about this? It's up 29%.
Right.
In the last 4 years. So you got players and you got the owner who doesn't care. Ticket sales don't matter. What does matter is no one wants to watch you. And Panthers are number 1 in the league for the discount of road tickets when they appear. That's bad, really bad.
Yeah, it's awful. Hey, Rich, great to hear from you, buddy. Thank you so much for ringing us up. Guys, you've got $6,800. That's the average cost of a Super Bowl ticket. You can go to the Super Bowl with it, but by hunches, most of you would not. I'd like to go to one. I would think about going, but Diesel, I think I'm going to the World Cup instead. You can't tell me. I don't need to go to the World Cup final. The U.S. isn't going to be there. You know what I'm saying? But I want to go to the World Cup, wherever it is. And for $6,800, let's say the ticket itself for just a group stage game is $1,000. I got $5,800 to fly down there, to get a hotel, to enjoy South Africa or wherever the World Cup is. You know, I'm going to the World Cup. I'll see you later.
I'm using my $6,800 to go on the college football tour that I always wanted to go on. I'm not gonna stalk him. It sounds like I am, but I'm not gonna stalk Josh Pate. I'm just gonna go to wherever Josh Pate goes, week in and week out, because he goes to the best games, right? I want to go to see a game at the Horseshoe. I've already been to the Big House, been there, done that, won a game, no big deal. I want to go to Autzen. I want to go to Texas. I want to go to Southern Cal. I want to go to Washington. I want to go to Bryant-Denny. I want to go to all these places and see big games. And I think $6,800, if I do the flights right, I could probably fund an entire season, week after week after week, of the best college football money could buy.
There you go, my friends. What do you say? We've got the top 5 at 5 coming your way next. We got your texts on what you would do with your $6,800. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. All sorts of thrilled to have you guys with us. Could not do it without you. Here's how you can take part in the show. Give us a ring on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone, 844-326-3663, and the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Tons of ideas of how to spend your $6,800. Tons of Clemson fans with their panties in a twist about me saying too many of you are settling. You know, this is, guys, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you call out your own for settling. Okay? It's existing. All right? So call it out. Of course, we appreciate you guys, whether you agree, disagree, whether you debate. Diesel and I talk about this all the time. There's this like feeling now in society where like when you disagree with somebody, there's this inclination that they think you hate them, or, man, we're not like that at all. We're not like that at all. Agree, disagree. We're still down with you, you know, and that's just who we are. That's just how we roll, man. I didn't grow up with debate being like a contentious thing. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up in that environment. I grew up in a house that debated everything, and like you still loved each other when you went to bed, right? Some debates more passionate than others, sure, but you still loved one another. There's no harm in the debate. As they say, the beauty is in the banter. It's time for us, my friends, to do that jam. We call it the top 5 at 5. The top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we are discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the Upstate, Offsiders, the top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it.
5.
At number 5, let's pick up right here. The average Super Bowl ticket costs $6,800. You can keep that ticket under this little exercise. You can keep that $6,800 and you can go to the Super Bowl. Or you can cash that ticket and use that money somewhere else in sports. It's got to be used for sports. What are you going to do? Where are you going to use it? Well, Diesel's going on his dream college football tour. I'm going to an exotic location to see the U.S. play in the World Cup. Doesn't matter. Either way, I am good. Let's see what some of what you guys are saying. Texter says, I'm getting $6,000 for sporting events. I'm going to a game at Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, and Lambeau Field. Texter says, give me one upper-level Carolina Panthers ticket at the new price and a small beer with the change. Texter says, I would go to Wrigley Field and Fenway when the Braves play there. Would love to visit those historic fields. I think you got some money left over too, Texter. Texter says, I'm also going to go to the 4 biggest NASCAR races of the year and do a whole 4-game series in Atlanta for Braves baseball. Texter says, if I can't save it, I'll buy one football ticket from the Clemson Collective for $6,800. So you're going to pay for players to go to Clemson, Texter. Texter says, I'd go to Braves games, some big Falcons games. Texter, that's an oxymoron. There are no big Falcons games. We all know that. Some major college games, movie tickets. It has to be sports, Texter. It has to be sports. Let's see here. Texter says, I'm taking $6,800 to buy a box, a luxury box, for the new Spartanburg minor league team. Texter says, I would buy 2 season Panthers tickets. You could buy more than that. Texter says, Mark, if I had $6,800 to spend on a sporting event, I'd go watch one of 2 stages of the Tour de France. Very cool. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Texter says, Mark, I'll spend $6,800 to go to several home games for the Chiefs, a couple of Braves games, a couple of Hurricane games, and a game in Las Vegas. There you go. There you go. What do you say, my friends? It's amazing, Diesel. Not a single soul has said, I'm keeping the $6,800 to go to the Super Bowl. Okay? Like you guys are realizing that you can get much more bang for your buck by spreading it around. You know, I'll never forget when you were growing up, did you like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch? Remember that song? My parents, for the first time only, I want to say I was 21 and my sister was 15, gave us the credit card to go to the mall to get clothes. And I got $400 worth of clothes. My sister got $400 worth of clothes. And this was like circa Diesel 1998. I got like 6 things for $400 because I got them all at Abercrombie and Fitch. And my parents exploded because of value for the dollar.
Legend has it they still smell like the cologne that they walk around and spray all over that store. And you can't wash that smell out.
And you guys are showing the same level of furor. You're saying, no, for $6,800, I can do better than the Super Bowl. Oh, how I wish Roger Goodell could hear us now. Next up.
4.
Kind of spawning this discussion, folks, was the incredibly idiotic news today that the Carolina Panthers are raising their ticket prices this year. Folks, you cannot make this up. Worst team in the NFL. They had tickets going for 45 cents last year because no one was there. They have an owner who has essentially taken a blowtorch to the reputation of that team and his markets, of which the upstate is one, right? He set fire to the relationship with this market. He set fire to the relationship with the Charlotte area. He set fire to the relationship with Rock Hill, South Carolina. And he says, you know what would be a really good idea? Let me charge you more than I charged you last year to see a god-awful product. This could be the final nail in the coffin for the Carolina Panthers here. And I said, you know, like, what would I do if I was Dave Tepper? First thing first, not that. Okay, I'm lowering ticket prices, not raising them. Secondly, I'm going to the ends of the earth to build community relations, community outreach efforts. If I'm Dave Tepper, I'm going to give Furman a call and I'm going to say, I'd like to fund bringing baseball back. My money is yours, provided that you bring baseball back. Let's do it. That would extend some goodwill, right? I'd have the head coach showing up at Falls Park for free pictures and autographs to ingratiate themselves with fans in South Carolina. I'd have the best players on the team, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, showing up at events in and around the upstate of South Carolina. All part of community outreach. Well, Mark, millionaire athletes don't want to do that. Tough. It's part of your contract. Part of your contract. Got to do it. I would be full bore, full effort community outreach. Instead, he charges you more money. No community outreach, charges you more money. Guys, make it make sense. What could the Carolina Panthers do to get you back? Or are they just too far gone? Next up.
3.
I thought this was so interesting today, man. So interesting. Odds have been released for the college football playoff next year. This is fascinating to me. I don't know why. I guess I'm just a nerd lit this way. But odds have been released, and there are 9 teams that have a better than 50-50 shot to make the college football playoff. Georgia is at minus 900. That means you would need to bet $900 to win $100 if you call Georgia in the playoff. Georgia, Ohio State. This is an order of how dominant the team is supposed to be. Okay, in order of the odds: Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Florida State, Clemson. So Clemson has the 6th best odds to make the 12-team playoff. Kansas State, Michigan, and Utah. 9 teams have a better than coin flip odds, better than 50-50 odds to make the college football playoff. Should Clemson be number 6 on this list? Seems a little high to me. Clemson's odds are identical with that of Florida State. Who on this list should not be here? Well, I do think Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon will be in. I'm going to say Clemson is going to be in. I'm going to say Florida State is out. I'm going to say Kansas State is out. And I'm going to say Utah is out. I think those 3 of the 9 do not get in. By the way, among the teams who have less than a 50-50 shot to make it, who's got the best odds? Alabama, Ole Miss, Penn State, and Notre Dame. Diesel, I love that Alabama value. That's crapping on Kalen DeBoer. You know, like they're saying Alabama in a 12-team playoff has less than 50-50 shot to make it. Really? 12-team playoff with what Nick Saban has built talent-wise. Really? By the way, you'll love this. The last team mentioned on this list that I'm looking at, the Florida Gators. Ho! How do you like me now, baby? The Florida Gators, 200-1 to make the college football playoff. You feel sorry for me, don't you? You feel sorry for me. You should feel real sorry for me right now. Next up.
2.
How about some NFL rumors going on right now? Well, where is Russell Wilson going to end up this offseason? Probably is not going to be with the Denver Broncos. Odds-on favorite right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the fit. They're close. They're already making the playoffs without him to taking the next step. L'Jarius Sneed has been told by the Kansas City Chiefs that he will be franchise tagged. Carolina Panthers, Clemson Tigers fans had their hearts broken when T. Higgins had the franchise tag placed on him by Cincinnati. That was the receiver that everybody wanted for Bryce Young and Carolina. And then you have the Las Vegas Raiders saying Devontae Adams, their stud wide receiver, he's a Raider, will not be traded. You've got a bunch of teams hoarding talent, bunch of names that are very, very hot and out there. And Thus far, none of them are admitted to be on the trading block. How about that? And finally,
1.
we are giving you our top 10 franchises in the NFL based on where they are today. Okay? Top 10 franchises in the NFL based on current form and what we project them to be moving forward. I've got Kansas City, obviously, number 1. San Francisco, number 2. I'm going to go Rams 3. I think you're going to watch the Rams contend for and possibly make a Super Bowl in the next year or two. I'll go Bengals 4 with the return of Joe Burrow. Buffalo Bills, I've got at number 5. I think Sean McDermott is holding them back. Baltimore Ravens 6th. How could you have them higher than that at this point? Had the league's best record. Wet the bed every time they're in the postseason. I'll go Eagles 7th because Nick Sirianni has kind of the same issue that Dabo Swinney does. Needs to prove himself without his elite coordinators, right? Dabo loses Tony Elliott, loses Brent Venables. What can he be without him? Nick Sirianni loses Shane Steichen, loses Jonathan Gannon. What can he be without him? We look forward to finding out. I've got the Buccaneers 8th. Baker Mayfield took them to the final 8. So very surprisingly so. I've got the Detroit Lions 9. I love what I'm seeing out of Detroit. However, it's been just one good year. Just one good year. You got to give me a little bit more before we fully buy in, hook, line, and sinker. And number 10, I will go with CJ, D'Amico, and the shockingly good Houston Texans. If you're one of those people, by the way, who thinks the 49ers are going to be right back in the Super Bowl, since 1990, only 3 teams have made it back to the Super Bowl within 5 years of losing it. Only 3. Kyle Shanahan may have just played his last and final hand. And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FAN-FONE. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. You can hit us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate on every one. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and finally, email. You guys can all email the show. Mark Ryan, that is M-A-R-C Ryan, at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Anywhere is where you can get to us. Massive participation on the show today. Just love to see it. I asked somebody, what are the odds that the state of South Carolina gets not 1, not 2, but 3 teams into March Madness? I'll give you that number. We'll go over the odds, and we'll do so next. Right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Diesel, can you come up with our top 5 today? And I'll think of my top 5.
I will as soon as I say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You guys got privy to the off-air conversation. Guys, that's it for us today. Mark is on location tomorrow at Ingles. We're back on Thursday for the live stream.
We'll see you guys then. Take care, guys.